So the Super Bowl is over and the offseason has officially begun for everybody. You know, the Panthers offseason started a little bit earlier than some of these playoff teams we've been watching for the past month, and there's been a lot of action going on. But now is really where things start to get down to the nitty-gritty. It's the offseason. So in this video today, we're going to talk about some potential free agent targets for the Panthers. And I'm going to go ahead and preface it. You may not like it, because we don't have the money to shop and get all the luxury items. We have to shop at the Dollar Tree and find some value and make some good connections. So these may be people that you may not have thought that we may target, but could have a good fit on our team and could be affordable. So this is the unheard of free agent list that you guys may or may not have heard. But before we get into that, my name is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. On this channel, start off every video by saying, "What up, dude?" And here I give recap and analysis of the NFL, in particular the Panthers. So if you want to see more videos and stay up to date, you got to hit the subscribe button, because if you don't hit the subscribe button, you may or may not get a notification when I drop these videos, because YouTube sometimes they mess around with the algorithm and all that, and you may not get a notification. So the only way to ensure you get all these videos is to hit the subscribe button, because there's a lot of stuff going on with this team. You know about it, from the Deshaun Watson rumors, Matt Stafford rumors, to moving on from Teddy Bridgewater. There's a lot going on, so you don't want to miss anything, so make sure you guys are subscribed. However, if you're already a subscriber and you want to show support to the channel, make sure you guys check the description for the link to buy me a beer, and go ahead and buy me a beer, because I really appreciate it. And I give you a little cheers and a dilly and a shout out in the comments on the next video. So I really appreciate that. And also make sure you give the video a thumbs up too, because that doesn't cost a thing and it really helps me a lot. So, okay, before we go into these names, let me establish what I feel like our needs are and what we can actually address in free agency. So these are the top 5 needs: offensive guard, offensive tackle, tight end, cornerback, and a defensive tackle, 3 technique, or pass rusher. So basically, offensive line, defensive line, tight end, corner. So just to make it simple, and I think we all can agree, these are areas of need. So let's go ahead and get into this list. The number 1, free agent. Now, this is not in any order, but I like Haason Reddick. So some of you guys may know Haason Reddick as the outside linebacker / pass rusher for the Cardinals. He really stepped up his game in this final year of his contract. The Cardinals did not extend him the 5th-year option as a rookie deal. So there's a chance that he could stay with the Cardinals, but there's also a chance he go to the market. If he does go to the market, look for somebody like Carolina to do it, because obviously Haason Reddick is a great pass rusher. He's a speed guy. We need help in the pass rush, but also he's a Temple Owl. You know how Matt Rhule loves his Temple Owls, guys that he used to coach for. You know what I'm saying? Haason Reddick can get after the quarterback. We need somebody to put on the opposite end of Brian Burns in our rotation for pass rush. Haason Reddick could be a good quality, safe pick. It could only cost us $10, $11, $12 million for a guy that can go ahead and get you double-digit sacks on any given day, season. So Haason Reddick could be a good pick to look into. He'll just come off a career year, so don't be surprised if he gets franchise tagged or his price may be a little bit too expensive for the Panthers. But this is right on that cusp of that 10, 11, 12 million is something that we possibly could do. Number 2 guy, who a lot of people are probably fan favorites, is Hunter Henry, the tight end from the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this guy is a problem. He's a beast. We faced the Los Angeles Chargers this year, and the 6'5", 240-pound product, he's been very productive. He's a great target for any quarterback, especially a young quarterback, if we're going to usher in a new guy from the draft or whatever we do on that end. But we know we need tight end help. We know we don't have a ton of size at wide receiver, but Hunter Henry instantly impacts our red zone offense because of his size, his ability to catch the ball, and his ability to be a mismatch when it comes to being too big for safeties and too big for corners and too shifty and too smooth for linebackers. So this is a great guy that can help immediately boost our poor red zone offense this year by getting him. He's going to be very pricey. Now, a quality tight end hitting the market can be very pricey, and I wouldn't be surprised for him to be out of our reach. But this is definitely somebody that causes instant impact. I know a lot of people have been considering drafting Kyle Pitts in the draft because we need a tight end that's solid. But if you can get a tight end like Hunter Henry in free agency, there you go. It makes a big difference. However, if we don't do that, look for us to pick up a tight end late in the draft, because a lot of these tight ends you actually can get late, like Kelsey. He wasn't a top flight pick. Kittle wasn't a top flight pick. So you can find some diamonds in the rough when it comes to tight end if you can develop them. But I do like Hunter Henry's game a lot. So be sure to look out for him as possible target. The next guy is Chidobe Awuzie, cornerback from the Dallas Cowboys, former quarterback at least. He will be testing free agency this year, and I think this is a good opportunity for the Panthers to really get a guy that has high upside who could probably be at an affordable price. He spent most of this past season on IR between COVID and being injured a little bit, so he missed half the season, so his value could be a little bit lower. However, he has great size, at 6 foot, a little over 200 pounds, and according to the stats, this dude only gave up 49.1% completion percentage in the past 2 seasons before this COVID year. So I'm not going to hold him accountable for that completely because he gave us some touchdowns earlier in the year. Rhule was very productive in the half season he did play with COVID because he had 38 tackles, 5 pass breakups, and a pick in just 8 games. That's damn good production for a cornerback in this league. But we saw him in his prime form without COVID and being fully healthy in 2018, 2019. 49% completion percentage is pretty dang good for a guy that's 6 feet tall. So that could be a guy that we could put across from Jackson and solidify that spot. That way we don't have to reach in the draft for a corner, you know what I'm saying? And he gives us good depth, and he could be very affordable. So look out for Awuzie. And the next guy on this list that I have to say is Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end from the New Orleans Saints. Now, if you haven't seen this guy play, he had a great year. Came out of nowhere. The Saints, they won't have room to be able to afford him. They have to pay Marshawn Lattimore. They just pay Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. And they have Marcus Davenport, who they spent a lot of draft picks on to move up to get. So they need to give him every chance he can to start. So Trey Hendrickson is probably going to be on the way out. This guy, he's a beast. I know this division likes to shuffle players around, so that's why I really put him up here. But this guy has a great motor. He has great size, and he could be a good complement to the small, slender, speed Brian Burns on one end. You could put Trey Hendrickson, who's pretty stout, can get to the quarterback with speed, but also has the good effort to get after the quarterback also. So there could be 2 good complementary pieces to add to our pass rush rotation. You know, I know we have Yetur Gross-Matos, but I want to see more from him if we're going to stick with him. And adding Trey Hendrickson to add to that rotation to possibly even show Yetur the ropes could be something that's possibly worth looking at. And Trey Hendrickson, obviously, he could be pricey because pass rushers aren't hard to come by, but the fact that he only had 1 productive year maybe means that he can be a little bit of a more affordable option. And he may be open to wanting to stay in the division to get a chance to compete against his old team twice. Hendrickson will probably be looking for around $10 million according to what I'm seeing on websites. So that's his market value, which is very affordable for a guy who can get double-digit sacks. So if that $10 million does stick, I wouldn't mind seeing the Panthers make a move to probably see what it's going to take to get Trey Hendrickson into Carolina Stadium. And last but not least, what I've seen some rumors about, who I think also could be a good pickup, is Will Fuller, wide receiver from the Houston Texans. Now, this is going on a speculation that we're probably going to let Curtis Samuel walk in free agency, so we're going to have to find somebody to replace him. Will Will Fuller be cheaper? Because Will Fuller is obviously super productive and one of the best wide receivers in the league when he's either healthy or not taking PED and failing drug tests. This guy, he's a big play waiting to happen. He's one of the best deep threats in the league, if not the best. And he's super productive in a bad Texans offense, even playing, obviously, Deshaun Watson helps a lot. But this dude can get deep. He can come up with the long ball. He can go up and get it if you need him to going deep. This guy, Will Fuller, if you can keep him on the field, he is a problem. And that will be the biggest telltale because even this past season, he was actually healthy for the first time. But he got suspended 6 games for performance-enhancing drugs. But in the, 10 games, 11 games he might have played, he still had 53 receptions and 11 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns, 11 games. That's the type of production we need. It doesn't matter how good or bad your red zone offense is, if you have a guy that can take the top off and get 11 touchdowns for you. Will Fuller is a problem, and he is a speedster that we could plug in and add to the other speedsters that we already have if we had to get rid of Curtis Samuel. So I like Will Fuller to possibly be a guy that comes into Carolina camp, make a spot for himself where we can sign him. So just a few sleepers just for you to think on. And number one is David Moore, wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks. He may get picked up by them, but obviously he has a Scott Fitterer connection. He was a late-round pick. He has a 6-foot guy. He'll be affordable, maybe a cheap guy you can add for some depth or number 3. Look out for him to possibly be there because he won't cost but a couple million, maybe $1 million, $2 million there. He could be a 3rd or 4th guy that can get some yards and get some work in there because David Moore he's overachieved for a guy that was a 7th-round pick, so don't be surprised if we go after him. The next sleeper pick is Marcus Williams from the New Orleans Saints. I know, guys, the Minneapolis Miracle, he dropped his head down and missed digs. It was him. But this guy's actually pretty productive. He's a great ball hawk. if we ever want to find a long-term answer besides Trey Boston at safety, Marcus Williams would be a great opportunity to do that, to add to this already young secondary. And he's mean. He's got a little mean streak coming from the Saints. You know how they play a little bit dirty. So Marcus Williams could be a good guy to give us a little bit of attitude in that secondary and solve up that free safety position for the future. So look out for Marcus Williams. Another guy is Sammy Watkins, a wide receiver, obviously from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's pretty expensive, so they may get rid of him and try to move on and make some cap space because they're going to have to pay Mahomes a huge salary once it kicks in, once he gets off that rookie deal. So they're going to have to make some cap space. Sammy Watkins could be on the way out. He's already got the ring. He got some decent amount of money for them. He could be looking to come back to the state that he played college football at in Carolina and be back in the South Carolina, North Carolina area. So Sammy Watkins could be a possible target. Last but not least, this is not a free agent. This could be a trade opportunity. Orlando Brown, right tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, he seems to be a little pissed off because he claims he's a left tackle and they won't put him there, even though they have another guy, and what is his name, Ronnie Stanley, that's better than him at left tackle. But Orlando Brown seems to want to play left tackle. If they don't oblige, maybe you can go ahead and fish and see, hey, we need a left tackle. What are you guys willing to give up for Orlando Brown? He's huge. He's done a solid job helping that run game in Baltimore, and he's huge. So it's hard to get around a guy that's that big. So maybe he could be the answer for us at left tackle if we go for a trade. Who knows? But we got to kick the tires on anything on the offensive line that could be promising, and Orlando Brown could be that guy. And as you can see, you may be surprised that I didn't put any offensive linemen besides Orlando Brown because I think we're going to have to build our offensive line through the draft. I'm just going to say that. You can get good value. Andrew Norwell, who we lost a couple years ago in free agency, he was an undrafted free agent. Taylor Moton, second-round pick. Dennis Daly was a sixth-round pick, but he's in a great rotational piece for us. So you can get some late bloomers, and guys, it's more about coaching than developing because a lot of these guys coming out of college playing offensive line, all they do is no huddle, zone blocking, stuff like that, slinging the ball around. So you can teach them, mold them, make them good players no matter where you find them in the draft. So I think that's going to be our biggest resource for offensive linemen. So that's why I didn't pick up any in the free agents. Obviously, there'll be a couple of small guys that we plug and play for depth because we lost so many guys. But I think our mainstay people are going to be in the draft. And the guys we want to build around are going to be in the draft. But you guys let me know down below in the comments what you thought about these potential prospects that I said, and how do you feel about them as possibly sleepers coming to the team this year. So let me know down below in the comments. Without further ado, I'm Aaron Duncan signing off. I'll see you next time. Peace.